Hey, everybody, this is Professor McGuire, and I am going to be talking to you today and teaching you a writing support lesson to help you with your DQs, your essays, your if you're in the EDS program, your capstone projects, if you're the EDD or PhD program for your dissertations. So this is a writing support lesson on APA references. So it's a continuation of the lesson that I taught in March, which was on sentence case and title case. And this will segue into how we can use the things we learned last month with, APA 7 referencing. So a quick review of what I covered last week. So for an APA 7 reference, we have two different kinds of titles. We have the title of the article, and we have the title of the journal or the periodical that the article was published in. So let's start with the title of the article. This is written in sentence case. And I'd like you to refer back to the time that you were in, like fourth grade, and your teacher was teaching you that a sentence starts with a capital letter. It's that same kind of thinking. So with the title of the article, you will need to capitalize the first letter of the first word, any proper noun, and then the first letter of the word after a colon, if the title of the article has one. The other title that we have is the title of the journal, and this is written in title case and italicized. So that would mean, again, back to fourth grade when your teacher was teaching, titles should, all the important words should be capitalized. And that's the same thinking here. So for the title of the journal, we want to capitalize the first letter of each major word. So here's an example of an article that I had published. And I got this out of like the GCU library, and it gives you can hit the cite button and it'll tell you how to cite it in APA 7. So what we've got here that I just want you to refer to is just the title of the article. You'll see that it's in sentence case. The only thing that's capitalized is the first letter of the first word. There are no proper nouns in this one, so they don't need to be capitalized. And there are no colons, and so we don't have to capitalize any, the first word after that. The other title is the title of the journal. This was published in Reflective Practice, and so you will see that that is in title case, meaning all major words are capitalized, and it's in italics. All right, let's move on. So what we know is that oftentimes in a journal article, you will see a recommended citation. And that'll be right there on the article. And it's really tempting to just copy and paste that right into your DQ response or into your essay or into your dissertation. And I would tell you this, that's a great place to start, but they don't always adhere to APA standards. And so it's your responsibility as a scholarly writer to know how to create a proper APA 7 reference. We'll also see this even in the GC library. There's a way that you can hit the cite button there. And sometimes it's truly in 100% APA 7, but sometimes it's not as well. So we're first going to look at a proper one so that we can have that in our heads, and then we're going to fix a few for practice. So this graphic is courtesy of the APA Style blog. You'll see the link at the bottom. This is a fantastic source to have, apastyle.apa.org. So if you find this graphic in there, I recommend a couple of things. One, bookmark that page. Two, print this out in color coding, laminate it, and stick it near your desk, because this is something that you're going to want to refer to frequently until you feel competent in fixing and writing references in APA 7. What I love about this graphic is that it is color coded. So if you look here, we've got our yellow, and this tells us how we would want to list our authors. But this little text box up here is really important because it's got all the tiny details that we seem to overlook sometimes. So you'll see that this little text box tells us to invert the last names. We want those to come first. It's followed by a comma, and then all of the initials of the authors. You'll leave a space between those initials, and you keep the order of the author's names. So whatever's listed on the article, you keep all of their names. And since this is a reference all the way up to 20 authors, you're going to want to list them all. So you'll keep going and going and going. You'll notice that right before the very last one, it uses an ampersand. So you'll want to put that in. You end with a period. And if we go to this little pink one, this is the year, and that would be put into parentheses according to the text box. Sometimes you'll see that the article might even have the month and the day, so you won't put that in. You'll just put the year it was published. We've got this little turquoise box. Here's the title of the article. So we just went over that. So this is where the title of the article is in sentence case. That's what it says in this little word box. So capitalize the first letter of the first word, all proper nouns, and if there's a colon, the first letter of the first word after the colon. You end it with a period. Now we come to our second title. That's the name of the periodical, or the way that we could think about it is the journal that it was published in. This is in in title case. So the text box tells us to capitalize all the major words in the periodical name, follow it with a comma, and you italicize the periodical name, but you don't italicize the comma. It's really tempting to just kind of swoop over and do that. You're not really supposed to. Our next one is the volume. So our purple here is the volume. So you'll italicize the volume number. And you won't put a space, do not put a space between the volume number and the parentheses around the issue number. We don't write the word volume. We do not write like an abbreviation like VOL. You just put the digit there. So if we move to the issue, then we're going to look at the text box. It says, do not italicize the issue number or the parentheses. You follow the parentheses with a comma. And if there's no issue number, that's okay. Just follow the volume with a comma. I have seen, though, that sometimes the issue number might be kind of two of them. So maybe it's like 5-6, and that's perfectly fine. If it's kind of a combo issue, you put both of those in there. And then we do the page range. So you do need to include the article page range. You use an en dash, which is just a short dash. There's no spaces around them, and you end it with a period. Now, let's say that you cannot find a page range on that article. All you simply do is you start on page 1, scroll to the very last page. How many pages does the article have? Maybe it's got 19 pages. So then your page range is the digit 1-19, the digit. So you have to put in the page range if there isn't one. So it might just be 1 to whatever. The last thing that we need to do is end it with the DOI. So the DOI needs to start with https://doi.org/ and then you paste in that long digital object identifier number. Now, if the article doesn't have a DOI, you do need to put in the URL. And you don't end with a period. So that's our little cheat sheet. Okay, so now let's look at some examples. So this is an article that I just recently published with my research partners, Dr. Amy Anderson and Dr. Tara Chavez. And it's published in the Mentoring and Tutoring Partnership and Learning Journal. And what I liked about this is that it gives us the recommended citation. However, based on what you just learned, you can see that this is not correct. It's not in APA 7 formatting. So what I would like you to do is take a moment to look this over and decide what kind of changes you would make to get this up to the APA 7 standard. And here's our answer. So if you want to take some notes on that, you can see that we have the last name of the authors, their initials. We've got an ampersand before the last one, the year, parentheses followed by a period. The title of the article is in sentence case. First word is capitalized. First word after the colon. No proper nouns. We get to the title of the journal. We can see it's in italics. This one does not have a volume and an issue yet, and that's because it was just published a couple of weeks ago. So once Mentoring and Tutoring Journal gets all of the articles that they want for their volume and issue, then they'll revise this and they'll put in a volume and issue. So if it doesn't have that, you just move to the page range. So When we're looking at this citation, there's no page range in it. And again, it hasn't really been posted yet because the article is so brand new. So I just know that it's page range is 1 to 18. So if you look at the article in Mentoring and Tutoring, you start with page 1, it ends on page 18, put that in, and then it's got the DOI. And that DOI could just be copied right from here and plopped in. All right, here's another one. So this has 2 authors instead of 3 like our other one. And you will notice that it is similar in the way that they are recommending the citation, but it doesn't adhere to APA 7 standards. So take a minute to take a look at that and how you would fix it. So this would be the correction. You can see the author's last name with their initials. There's a comma following the initial, the ampersand, period at the end here, the year, period, title of the article. There are no proper nouns, no colons, so the only thing that's capitalized is the first word. We've got our title of the journal in title case in italics. The volume number is in italics, and that's right over here, 30:5, but we know that we need to put it 30 parentheses 5. The 5 in the parentheses are upright. Here's the page range. You'll notice it's an N dash with no spaces, and then the DOI is just copied from here. Here's another one. This one is interesting because the first author's last name is hyphenated. So it's really important that you do the hyphenated last name. We don't just default to the last one. This author has a hyphenated name. All right, so it would look like this. Moreau-Johnson, comma, and then the first initial, comma, the second author's last name, with the initial, period, comma, ampersand, and the third author, period, followed by the year, period. Now this one does have a colon, the title of the article, so you need to capitalize the first letter of the first word in the article, and then the first letter of the first word following this colon. You'll notice that our title of our journal is in title case and italicized. So is the volume number. The issue number is upright. We've got our page range from over here, and the DOI was copied. Here's our final one. So this would have 2 authors, and you notice that we've got Rebecca K, so you want to make sure you put both initials, and Anthony J, so both initials go in there. And here's the correction. This one also has a colon in the title of the article. So the first letter of the first word is capitalized. The first letter of the first word after the colon is capitalized. Our journal title is in title case, italicized, so is the volume number, but not the issue number, page range, and DOI. All right, so now it's time for you to practice. So what I'd like you to do is open a blank Word doc, and I will pop a reference into the chat, and I'd like you to copy that reference and paste it into your Word doc. And I want you to fix it based on what you've learned and then be prepared to share. We can just have you put them into the chat, and then we can chat about them. So here's our little cheat sheet taken again from our apastyle.apa.org blog. So take a quick look at that. Maybe take a screenshot of that so you have it up there on your desktop so that you can refer to that while you're working on this. All righty, so here's our first one. I've put that into the chat for you. I'll give you a moment to go ahead and fix that according to APA 7 formatting. So in the interest of time, here is the corrected version. One of the things that can be a little tricky is that we might think that the name of a like a philosophy or a learning theory would be like a proper noun. However, it's not. Seems a little strange. Personally, I think it should be a proper noun, but it's not. So the only thing that's capitalized is the C in constructivism, and that's because it is the first letter in the title of the article. And the only other thing that should be capitalized here would be the A because it's following the colon. Everything else is lowercase. And you'll want to put the title of the periodical, the journal, in italics and in title case. It's already that way. And then the volume number should be in italics, but everything else looks good to go. All right, here's your second one. So one more practice. This one might seem a little tricky because it has a quote in the title. So you're going to have to think about what you might want to do with that, or if anything needs to be done. You'll notice with this URL that it's not really a DOI. So this article did not have a digital object identifier number. So this is the URL in order to get to that article. All right, so here are our corrections. We have all of our authors listed out. Keep in mind, all the way up to 20 authors would be listed out. So you do all of them like this. We do keep the quotes, but we do want to have this in sentence case. So we don't need to capitalize anything if it's not a proper noun. The colon goes after the quotes in this case, and then we'll capitalize, keep that one capitalized. But again, everything else is lowercase because it's the title of the article. The title of the periodical or the title of the journal that this was published in is called History Teacher. We capitalize all important words and we put it in italics. Same with the volume number. Our issue number is butted right up next to it in parentheses and it's upright. And then we've got our page range and the URL. So if you've got any questions, we can go over that. And then our next CDS writing support lesson is scheduled for Thursday, the 9th of May at 4 o'clock Arizona time. I'd love it if you would invite your fellow classmates, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you for attending today.